Our son, Chris Brogan, has a blog, and he preaches social media, and
Oh, really?
everything is great about it. And he says you should always blog about what you know, what you see, what's in your environment. And it's amazing that that's how we got to actually meet you.
Yes.
Because we saw a maple tree being tapped, and we got to meet your husband. And I knew you were both school teachers, and I said, and what do you teach? And he says, I teach biology, and my wife teaches kindergarten. You should look her up on Google. So Steve and I looked you up on Google, and then we spent the next, 3 hours or so finding more out about you. You have quite the background.
I have a transparent life.
So then I was getting ready to actually talk and get you on film, and then I find out you make elderberry jelly. I mean, it's like, is there no end to the beauty and the joy that I'm getting out of this?
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
But I mean, seriously, it's like people don't do that anymore. And most people don't even know you can make elderberry jelly.
It's interesting, when our daughter Abigail was in college, she went to school at University of Rhode Island, and she is a very simple person just like us, and she would want her friends to come up and be at our house. And so they would come for the weekend, and one of the traditions that we would do on a Saturday or a Sunday morning would be to have pancakes, especially if we had a lot of people to eat them. But the kids, grew up having pancakes or waffles. So number one, we mixed our own pancake batter.
That must have been fun.
It wasn't something that came out of the box and just add water. And then we used blueberries that we grew or picked, one of the two, on our own property. And then we put maple syrup that we also made. And I don't know, there were other things, maybe the jams, I'm not really sure. And the kids would say, Abby, you grew up on a farm. And she's like, I did not grow up on a farm. Right. My parents are professionals. They went to work every day. Yes, but your parents make everything. Well, I think, we have a washer and dryer. We use the washer, but we often hang our clothes outdoors or in the cellar, and use the dryer to kind of fluff them up. And if we didn't have the dryer, we wouldn't have fluffy clothes. But that's just what we do.
So in researching you a little bit, because that's what a good interview is supposed to do. I'm trying. So your daughter Abigail.
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Abigail.
Dr. Abigail.
Yes. So she's a marine biologist.
Yes.
But does she also teach school?
She is not. She teaches one course for the University of Michigan, and I'm not even sure if it's the University of Michigan in Dearborn. I'd have to Google her.
Now, do you have other children?
I have a son, Adam, and he's a videographer, and he works for Children's Hospital. And he's the one that's getting married that also is going to do the maple syrup for the...
So tell me, you're kind of heavy into technology. I understand that they'd like to take you away from teaching and put you all over the world giving classes. And
I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think so.
So technology hasn't been around forever, the way we use it today. So how did you get into it?
Well, I believe that, I disagree. There's always been technology.
Right.
It's just, the blackboard was a new piece of technology. The slate.
Well, you're right.
And pencils replacing, pencil and paper replacing slates. And I still have slates from my great aunt was actually a teacher here in town. And I have some of her things. And there's tape recorders in classrooms. Record players are a type of technology. So I think that teachers have always had some kind of technology, some tool at their disposal. And I, as a teacher, as an educator, I believe that in finding the best ways to help children be the learners that they are, and to really bring out.
You're doing fantastic stuff.
So when I first started teaching, I taught in Lebanon, New Hampshire, and I had tech tools. I had video at my disposal, huge decks with reel-to-reel video, not even cassette at that point. because we could use that video in the classroom for kids to explain what they were doing, but also we could look at children's work and look more in depth at and repeatedly look at what they were doing to explain to us how they were learning. And even if they were explaining something that actually was faulty and in their thinking, we could then begin to look at how they were thinking. I used tape recorders to have stories read to children so that they could hear language more often than just a teacher reading a story to them. We used a IBM Selectric typewriter. You probably, if you had anything to do with anything in industry, so, and that was a very exciting piece, and I was very fortunate that.
And did yours have correction tape?
Well, we did not have correction tape. I think I was even earlier than that. But the best part was you could take that ball of font, and we didn't call them fonts, I don't think. I don't even know what we called them. And you could take it off and you could replace it with primary type. So your letters were more appropriately sized for students. And I thought I had died and gone to heaven when I got the job, because it was a federally funded project in a public school. It was when we were more compassionate as a government, and it was in the Great Society days. And half of my children were from impoverished families, target population, and the other half were from the regular population. And it was designed to enrich classrooms with the tools that they needed to help children learn best. And that was where I started.
Are you unique in your teaching, or is this type of teaching happening in the other classrooms within your school?
Well, I think that at that time, Deerfield was a very innovative school. We had a 4-day week that originated because of one of the energy crises that we have had, and real freedom to think and to apply what the curriculum is in your own way. And I've been there since my son Adam was in 1st grade. And I was able to take my children there to school. That was part of the teacher contract. And we were encouraged to think differently. You had to do the curriculum. So it's in that environment, in that school system, that encouraged me to continue to think and to create. And I kind of say that I don't do the same thing twice. I just don't do it in the same way. So I have to follow curriculum, but I just don't always do it. The learners change it.
So tell me, like on your windmill project, they went to the Deerfield Fair and won 1st place.
Oh, our pinwheels, yes.
Pinwheels.
So the fair project, we all create fair projects because it is Deerfield for one. And this particular fair project, because I connect my class globally through blogging, and since I'm involved in online communities, we were involved in a project about peace. And the Pinwheels for Peace is an international project. And in helping my kids know about it, they decided they wanted to make pinwheels, and then it just went into, since the Deerfield Fair project happens so early in the year, and Pinwheels for Peace, or International Peace Day, is early September or mid-September. It just falls.
So are you the only kindergarten teacher in Deerfield?
No, there are 3.
There are 3. So you all have the same class, same size class. When the students come in, are they pretty well versed in technology from their use at home, or?
A lot of them know that you can use computers for gaming. And nowadays, kids may have a parent who has an iPhone or a smartphone at home, an iPod Touch, but not all of them, certainly not. I mean, I probably have, out of a class of 21, probably 2 or 3 that did not have any internet access.
So,
but then I have to work harder to make sure that they have equal opportunity to.
Yeah, that's true. I was reading your blog, and I came across the article where you and the children were Skyping. And I go, Skyping? My heavens, I know adults who don't know what that word means. And here she's teaching these children, and it's so great. And oh my goodness, they're on Twitter. Look at that. They know what Twitter is, you know. And because that's one of the things that Steve and I have noticed in talking with other adults, that they're doing it's a Twitter or a tweet, or I don't know what that stuff is. And I thought, this is like so great. It's like, do you remember? I remember when we first got word processing, and I could put that on my resume that I knew how to do it.
Yes.
Well, when I got spreadsheets down, these were
Yes,
very,
right.
very basic spreadsheets, but when I got those down, you know, I was just, I was looked forward to. I gave classes on how to do it and all.
Exactly.
And now that's just part of when you go for a job, that's who you are. You're supposed to know all this.
Right.
And I thought, my goodness, so this is all, it's really happening.
You know, it's not about being good at computers. It's about how to use that technology to create a better learning environment for students and prepare them for the world that we have no idea what it will look like.